Have you noticed that Sigma males never chase anyone? Not in friendships, not in relationships, not even in business. While everyone else is busy proving themselves, explaining themselves, or begging for attention, the Sigma male steps back. And that silence, that refusal to chase, is exactly why he ends up winning in the long run. This isn't arrogance, and it's not laziness. It's strategy. Sigmas know that chasing gives away your power, while patience and self-control make people come to you. Today, we're breaking down the brutal psychology of why Sigma males never chase, what that really means, and why it leaves everyone else both unsettled and fascinated. Before we dive in, here's the challenge for you. Watch until the end, because I'm going to ask you one question that only someone with Sigma energy can answer honestly. If you've ever felt like you're different from the rest, you'll want to stay with me. Chasing equals losing power. When you chase someone, whether it's a friend, a romantic interest, or even a colleague, you're unconsciously shifting the balance of power away from yourself. The very act of pursuit signals that you're putting the other person above you, giving them the authority to decide your worth. Sigma males understand this dynamic better than most. They know that the moment you start running after someone's attention or approval, you've already placed yourself in a weaker position. Think about it. When someone knows you're desperate for their validation, they can start dictating the terms of the relationship. They decide when you get their time, how much respect they give you, and whether or not they keep you waiting. You're no longer an equal. You become someone seeking permission to matter. That's exactly why Sigma males never chase. To them, chasing is the fastest way to surrender control. Instead, they choose to pull back, stay grounded, and let others reveal their intentions. Their silence and restraint often flip the dynamic completely. The person who expected to be chased suddenly feels unsettled. They begin to wonder why the Sigma isn't chasing like everyone else. That curiosity creates a pull, and in many cases, it makes others lean in harder, trying to gain the Sigma's attention. This isn't about arrogance or playing games. It's about self-respect. A Sigma male doesn't measure his value by who stays or who leaves. He knows his worth isn't up for negotiation. And by refusing to chase, he sends a clear message. If you want a place in my life, you'll meet me on equal ground. If not, I won't lose a second of peace chasing what was never real to begin with. Self-worth comes from within. Most people live in a constant chase for validation. They measure their value through likes, compliments, promotions, or the approval of others. But Sigma males operate on a completely different wavelength. Their self-worth is rooted deep within themselves, not in what others say, not in external rewards, and not in shallow recognition. This inner confidence is what makes them unshakable. When someone tries to belittle them, it doesn't stick, because they've never outsourced their worth to begin with. When society pressures them to conform, they don't cave, because they already know who they are. And when relationships test their strength with emotional games, they don't crumble, because their value isn't tied to someone else's validation. The difference here is massive. Think of how many people bend, change, or sacrifice their authenticity just to be liked. They tone themselves down, exaggerate their strengths, or even pretend to be someone they're not, just to fit in. A Sigma doesn't play that game. He understands that real strength isn't about being admired. It's about being authentic, even if it means standing alone. This is why Sigmas often intimidate others. When people can't control you with flattery or guilt, they lose their leverage. When they realize you don't need their stamp of approval, they feel powerless. And that's what sets Sigma males apart. They're free, in a way most people can't even imagine. By building their self-worth from within, they create a foundation that can't be shaken by rejection, betrayal, or criticism. And That's the brutal truth. When your value doesn't depend on others, you become untouchable. Silence creates curiosity. In today's world, silence is rare. Everyone is constantly talking, posting and oversharing just to stay relevant. But Sigma males take the opposite approach, and that's exactly why people can't stop thinking about them. Their silence creates an aura of mystery that pulls others in without them having to say a single word. When someone refuses to reveal everything about themselves, it sparks curiosity. People start asking questions. Why is he so quiet? What is he thinking? What does he know that we don't? The lack of information forces others to fill in the blanks with their imagination, and often that imagined version is even more powerful than reality. This is why Sigmas can walk into a room, say little, and still leave the strongest impression. Their silence speaks louder than noise. This also gives Sigmas an edge in relationships and social dynamics. While others rush to explain, justify, or impress, the Sigma male stays composed. That pause, that refusal to give everything away, puts pressure on others to reveal more about themselves. In arguments, it frustrates manipulators who rely on reaction. In dating, it intrigues women who are used to men chasing with words. In the workplace, it makes colleagues and bosses wonder what's going on in his head. The truth is, silence is a psychological weapon. It builds tension, it creates uncertainty, and it forces others to lean in closer, to study harder, to try to understand the one person who doesn't give away his entire playbook. That's why Sigma males rarely need to chase attention. Curiosity does the chasing for them. By mastering silence, they flip the script. Instead of fighting to be seen, they make others fight to understand them. They value energy too much to waste it. For a Sigma male, energy is currency, and it's the most valuable one they own. Unlike most people who scatter their focus across gossip, arguments, and pointless social obligations, Sigmas treat their time and energy like a fortress. They know once it's gone, they can't get it back, so they refuse to spend it on things or people that don't move them forward. This is why you'll rarely see a Sigma male chasing attention, over-explaining himself, or forcing his way into groups. To him, that's wasted energy. Every interaction, every conversation, and every commitment is carefully measured against one question: is this worth it? If the answer is no, he withdraws without hesitation. While others burn themselves out pleasing everyone, the Sigma male conserves his strength for what truly matters: his goals, his growth, and the people who have earned his trust. This trait often shocks those around him. Friends may feel confused when he doesn't engage in endless hangouts. Coworkers may think he's distant when he avoids drama or small talk. Partners may feel frustrated when he won't give attention on demand. But what they don't realize is that by saying no to wasted energy, he's saying yes to building a life that's intentional, disciplined, and powerful. It's not arrogance, it's efficiency. Sigmas understand that energy wasted on shallow interactions is energy stolen from building something meaningful. That's why when they do give their time, their presence feels different. It carries weight. It's focused. It's real. People feel it because it's rare. In a world addicted to distraction, the Sigma male's ability to guard his energy is both shocking and intimidating. It's also what makes him unstoppable. Patience flips the dynamic. One of the Sigma male's greatest weapons is patience. While most people are caught in the trap of instant gratification, chasing quick replies, fast validation, or immediate results, the Sigma plays a longer game. He doesn't rush, he doesn't beg for attention, and he doesn't crumble under silence. Instead, he waits, and in that waiting, the entire dynamic shifts in his favor. Think about how most people act in relationships or even in friendships. Silence often triggers panic. If someone doesn't reply right away, they start overthinking. If a person doesn't give them attention, they start chasing harder. Manipulators use this to control others. But a Sigma male, he flips the script. Instead of fearing silence, he uses it. Instead of chasing, he waits. His patience forces the other person to reveal their true intentions. This unnerves people, especially fake friends, manipulative partners, or anyone who relies on pressure to control others. They're used to their tactics working instantly. They expect emotional reactions, defensive explanations, or desperate attempts to fix things. When the Sigma doesn't give them that satisfaction, their power crumbles. Suddenly, they're the ones feeling insecure. They're the ones chasing. Patience also plays out in bigger life goals. While others burn out chasing trends or competing in meaningless status games, the Sigma patiently builds. He invests time in mastering skills, nurturing long-term plans, and moving with precision. By the time others realize what he's been working on, it's already too late. He's miles ahead, and he never wasted energy scrambling for approval. In a world that thrives on speed and reaction, patience is Sigma's quiet form of dominance. He doesn't fight for control, he simply waits until it naturally shifts into his hands. They refuse to be controlled. One of the most defining traits of a Sigma male is his complete refusal to be controlled by anyone, whether it's through manipulation, social pressure, or authority. Control is the foundation of most human interaction. People test boundaries, push buttons, and create subtle systems of dominance, expecting others to fall in line. But Sigmas reject the entire game. They're not interested in climbing ladders or submitting to them. Their independence is their shield, and they defend it at all costs. This refusal often shocks others because most people unconsciously accept some level of control in exchange for belonging or validation. A boss leverages status to keep employees in check. A partner uses guilt to shape behavior. Friends pressure each other into conformity. For many, this is just normal. But for the Sigma, it's unacceptable. The moment he senses control, whether it's overt commands or subtle emotional strings, he steps back. He won't argue or negotiate. He simply withdraws, making it impossible for others to dictate his actions. This is why manipulators often find themselves powerless against Sigmas. Their usual tactics, guilt-tripping, flattery, silent treatment, or peer pressure, simply don't land. The Sigma's inner compass is too strong to be swayed by external influence. He values authenticity over approval, freedom over fitting in, and peace over validation. That makes him unpredictable, and unpredictability terrifies those who rely on control to feel safe. Refusing control doesn't mean Sigmas rebel for the sake of rebellion. They'll follow rules when they make sense, respect leaders when they're competent, and cooperate when it's mutually beneficial. But the second it becomes about domination rather than respect, they walk away. That's the brutal truth. You can't control a Sigma male, because he'd rather lose everything than lose himself. Walking away without explanation. For most people, ending a friendship, relationship, or connection involves long talks, drawn-out arguments, or emotional closure. They want explanations, apologies, or at least some clarity. Sigma males, however, operate differently. When they reach the decision to walk away, they do so without fanfare, without debate, and often without a single word of explanation. To many, this feels cold or even cruel, but for a Sigma, it's simply the most efficient and honest way to end a dynamic that no longer serves them. Why? Because explanations often turn into battles for control. The moment you justify yourself, you invite others to argue, manipulate, or guilt-trip you into staying. Sigmas refuse to play that game. Instead of defending their choices, they silently take action. Their withdrawal is the explanation. The silence says it all. The trust is gone, the respect is broken, or the energy no longer aligns. And once that point is reached, nothing you say will change their mind. This behavior shocks people who are used to endless negotiation. Fake friends expect drama, toxic partners expect bargaining, and even coworkers expect confrontation. But Sigmas don't fight battles that are already decided. They don't owe you an essay, and they don't need to justify their instincts. By walking away without explanation, they preserve their power, their peace, and their time. Of course, this confuses and frustrates others. They're left replaying every interaction, wondering what went wrong, searching for closure that will never come. And that's exactly why this move is so powerful. The Sigma doesn't just walk away. He does so in a way that prevents others from ever regaining control. His silence becomes the final word. In the Sigma world, no explanation is needed. The act of leaving is the explanation itself. Winning by attraction, not pursuit. The Sigma male doesn't win people over by chasing, begging, or proving his worth. He wins by embodying qualities so rare and magnetic that others can't help but notice. This isn't arrogance, it's strategy. In a world where most people compete for validation, attention, and approval, the Sigma operates in reverse. Instead of pursuing, he builds himself into someone worth pursuing. His confidence doesn't come from loud displays or flashy words. It comes from discipline, independence, and inner peace. While others exhaust themselves trying to impress, the Sigma focuses on mastering his craft, sharpening his mind, and living by his own rules. That quiet dedication creates a gravitational pull. People sense his strength without him ever needing to advertise it. The irony is that by refusing to chase, he becomes more desirable. Women find themselves drawn to the man who doesn't need constant attention. Friends and allies respect the person who isn't desperate for belonging. Even in business, clients and colleagues notice the one who doesn't beg for approval but commands respect through results. This is why Sigmas often get exactly what others are chasing, because they never chase it in the first place. This doesn't mean Sigmas don't value relationships or connections. On the contrary, when they allow someone into their life, it's genuine and lasting. But the entry point is attraction, not pursuit. They don't lower their standards or compromise their identity just to fit in. They let the right people come to them. Those who are strong enough, authentic enough, and loyal enough to respect their independence. In the end, this is the brutal Sigma truth. Chasing leads to dependence, but attraction leads to power. And by living as their fullest, truest selves, Sigma males don't need to pursue anyone. The world comes to them. At the end of the day, Sigma males don't win because they chase. They win because they attract. They don't waste time running after people who don't value them. Instead, they pour their energy into becoming unshakable, disciplined, and self-reliant. That's why, when others are exhausted from begging for attention, Sigmas are already winning silently, through respect, results, and power that can't be faked. And here's the brutal truth. The moment you stop chasing, you start attracting. The moment you walk in your own power, the right people will come into your life, and the wrong ones will fall away. That's not weakness, that's strategy. That's the Sigma way. Now here's my question for you. Have you ever walked away from someone who expected you to chase them? And did it make you stronger in the end? Drop your answer in the comments, because I want to know how many of you are living this truth right now. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Stay tuned for more, because here on UltraWise, we break down the mindset that makes you untouchable in a world built on noise.